Do you want to learn a little more about distance control on wedges? If so, you've landed in the right spot. Today we're going to have a little bit of an exploration of what good players do to control the distance on their wedge shots and how they dial things in when they get to somewhere where they need something less than a full swing. I took the time to rate today's video for you using something new that I'm trying out. It's called the Hope rating. It's kind of like a play on words for the slope rating for the difficulty of golf courses. So the Hope rating that I've come up with covers two areas. It's a dual scale. One describes the relative difficulty of understanding the concept that I'm going to present, and the other is the relative difficulty for mastering the skill, what we're talking about. So the scale goes from easiest at 56 and goes all the way up to 156 as the toughest in the rating. And an average difficulty is 113. I hope you like this video. And today's Hope rating on the concept is 88. And the Hope rating on the mastery of the skill set is 144. Now let's get you the straight goods on distance control with wedges. Here we are at the gorgeous second hole at the Ridge course at Cordova Bay. We're going to have a look at how you control the distance with your wedges. Ultimately, somewhere where you're near the green, you have less than a full swing situation. So today for me, I'm going to look at shots of 52 yards, 62, and 72 yards. Most of you recognize at some point during your golf that once you get to roughly the intermediate stage, these shots are very difficult to get close to the hole. And it's not usually a question of left and right. It's usually a question of distance control, short and long. So we're going to have a look at how to dial in those wedges. We're hitting a wedge shot into the green. We've got a couple of key variables that we want to get under control by practicing. Of course, we want to hit the ball out of the center of the club face. If you hit one low on the face, you get a low bullet. And if you hit the ground first, it's kind of messy. So to control your distances, you've got to have that centered strike on the club face. Seems to go without saying, but we always got to mention it. It's number one key. Number two key is launching your ball at a predictable angle. In other words, the vertical launch of the ball coming off the club face, and my little center drilled wedge here helps you to see that. So this club shaft describes what the loft wants to do to the golf ball upon striking. This is my starting position, but when actually hitting the ball, I want to do this. When I actually move off my right side into my left, and you can see the loft angle is reduced. So we're not trying to hit these shots as high as humanly possible. We're trying to get a predictable initial launch and a nice thin divot. And here we go, we're going to try a 52 yarder, 62 and 72. The 52 yarder is our first shot. So with those two main variables now somewhat under control, that's the centered strike and the initial vertical launch for the shot, the only remaining big variable is the club head speed at impact. And of course, that's the goal here. Reduce variables till you're down to really one. So how do you control that club head speed at impact? You don't take a huge, gigantic backswing and then just don't hit it too hard. You're going to go instead with the same type of tempo each time and just vary the length of backswing. So for a 52-yard pitch, in my case, it's not a giant backswing, it's a fairly small backswing, but I'm not going to abbreviate the follow through. I'm going to go ahead and swing through to a completion. So let's give this a try with the 52-yard range. A little bit of practice has you within about 12 feet for birdie. You guessed it, the flagstick's in a different position. You arrived at exactly the same tee box, and now the flag is 10 yards deeper in the green. So now we're talking a 62-yard shot, and I'm going to lengthen out my backswing again. Not to full length, because full length for me is an 80-yard shot with this club. So I'm going to try to dial in a 62-yarder. That's close. That's within about 12, 15 feet for birdie. And now the 72 yarder, so you guessed it, longer swing, which means a bigger backswing. But a couple of things to keep in mind here. For all of these wedge shots, when you're controlling your distance with your wedges, you want to retain the same amount of pace or the same tempo shot to shot, with only the length of backswing being the determining factor to lengthen out the swing, means to add more speed at impact. And then finally, even though this backswings are a wee bit smaller, we want a gradual and full finish. So be looking for that on this shot here, the 72 yarder. Ooh, that's a beauty. Stop dead, about 12-15 feet from the flagstick. Another good chance at birdie. So just in a quick summary here, length of backswing being the only key variable in controlling the distance with these wedges. Welcome back to World Headquarters for Straight Goods on Golf. One little footnote to that video is that I'd like to suggest that you pitch only with your sand wedge, just to keep things very simple and a little bit of continuity as you hit those approaches to the green. At the start of this video, I opened up this idea of a hope rating scale for the concept and for the difficulty of actually mastering the task. And I suggested an 88 scale or an 88 rating for the actual concept, and then 144 for mastering the task. So what do you think of my ratings for this video? Make sure you drop your opinion into that comment section below. I'll be interested to hear what you've got to say on that one. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscriptions button and also tap in the notifications bell so as not to miss any future content.